The Google Pixel 10 Pro XL, one of the most talked about smartphones of 2025, has already started making headlines. But this time it's not because of its cutting-edge camera system or sleek design. It's because of a rather unexpected problem that's leaving some users scratching their heads. And that issue has to do with audio recording. Yes, you heard that right. Pixel 10 Pro XL users are facing audio irregularities when recording videos. And after a deeper look, the reason behind this is A, subtle yet impactful design change that Google quietly introduced compared to the Pixel 9 Pro XL. So let's break it all down because this story perfectly illustrates how even the smallest design tweaks can end up having unforeseen consequences. Now, according to reports, the Pixel 10 series officially launched on August 20th. And at first glance, not much has changed in terms of design compared to Pixel 9 lineup. The new base Pixel 10 does get an extra rear camera, which is a nice touch. But for the most part, the phones look and feel quite familiar. However, as users began spending time with the flagship Pixel 10 Pro XL, they started noticing something odd about video recordings. The audio just didn't sound quite right. And that's when people like Android Police's Artem Rusakovsky dug deeper and found the culprit. It turns out Google swapped the position of the speaker and the microphone at the bottom of the phone compared to last year's Pixel 9 Pro XL. And while this might sound like a minor internal shuffle, it was actually done for a very specific reason. Google wanted to enhance the gaming experience in landscape mode, because previously, when you held the Pixel sideways to play games, your hand would often block the sound, muffling it or directing it in the wrong direction. So by swapping the mic and speaker, the company aimed to give gamers a clearer, more immersive audio experience, which on paper sounds like a thoughtful improvement. But here's where things got tricky. Because when you record videos in landscape orientation, your hand positioning often ends up covering or partially blocking the relocated mic, and that results in muffled or irregular audio during video recording. And for content creators or anyone who relies on their phone to capture moments, this is not just a small annoyance. It's a frustrating problem. Now, the good news is that there are a couple of quick fixes. One is to simply be more mindful of your hand placement while recording in landscape mode, ensuring that you don't cover the mic. And another is to rotate the phone 180 degrees, so the mic is on the opposite side of your grip, which should theoretically solve the issue. However, as Artem pointed out, this second fix feels awkward, especially for right-handed users, because it disrupts the natural way you'd normally hold your phone. And while this design change isn't a deal breaker, and certainly won't drive customers away from the Pixel 10 Pro XL, it does highlight how even a small hardware tweak can create a ripple effect in daily use. But that's not the only issue being talked about with the Pixel 10 Pro XL, because under the hood it is powered by Google's new Tensor G5 chip, and early benchmarks and real-world testing suggest that while the chip is competent, it hasn't exactly blown people away, especially when it comes to GPU performance. Many reviewers have described it as underwhelming, falling short of the power levels expected from a next-gen flagship processor, and that's concerning given how much emphasis modern smartphones place on AI features, gaming, and high-resolution video processing. However, there may be a silver lining here, as reports indicate that the GPU's lackluster performance can actually be attributed to software, specifically missing or unoptimized drivers, meaning that with a simple software or driver update, Google could potentially unlock much more of the Tensor G5's true potential, which would be a huge win for Pixel 10 owners if it turns out to be true. And while performance may not be perfect out of the gate, this year's Pixels do have another major advantage: repairability. Yes, in a rare move for modern smartphones, Google has made the Pixel 10 series significantly easier to disassemble and repair compared to previous models. And this could prove to be a huge plus for both consumers and repair shops, because it means lower repair costs, less e-waste, and more sustainable smartphone ownership overall. And that's an area where Google deserves real credit, because while most companies are making phones harder to open, Google is moving in the opposite direction, which is something eco-conscious buyers will absolutely appreciate. So to summarize, the Pixel 10 Pro XL is an interesting device with its subtle design updates, its still excellent camera system, its improved repairability, but also with its quirks like the swap speaker and mic that cause audio recording issues in landscape mode, and its Tensor G5 chip that may need some fine-tuning to live up to expectations. And all of this just shows us that no phone is perfect. Every generation brings improvements, but also new trade-offs. And in this case, Google prioritized gamers with the speaker and mic swap, but that inadvertently created a hurdle for video creators. So depending on how you use your phone most often, this could either be a minor inconvenience or a frustrating oversight. But at the end of the day, the Pixel 10 Pro XL is still one of the most advanced Android smartphones available in 2025, delivering Google's clean software, its industry-leading camera capabilities, and an increasingly refined hardware design. So while it may stumble in a few areas, it continues to push forward in others, and that balance is what keeps the Pixel lineup relevant year after year. So what do you think? Is the audio recording issue a deal breaker for you? Or would you still consider picking up the Pixel 10 Pro XL for its other strengths? Let us know your thoughts. And as always, we'll keep covering every update on the Pixel 10 series and more right here. This is TechVerse.